Welcome back to the channel, y'all. Jake here. We're going to do another board game coverage. So we're going to cover the Arena of the Planeswalkers from WotC that they created and kind of touch on the Shadows of Innistrad, the expansion that they added. There's another like character ones that they came out with. All of them are in here together, but we're going to cover like the two different types of gameplay from this. So I hope y'all enjoy this video, and also don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you can get notifications when videos like this one drop. But here you go, here's the video. Okay, so now that we have the board game set up, we are gonna go through all the different characteristics of the game Magic, the Arena of the Planeswalkers. So first off, when you start, each player in the two-player game or multiplayer, however you want to do it, picks a Planeswalker. So like, here's your card, and you can pick a Planeswalker, and then the base game comes with like, I forget, because we have all three. The base game, they have the Arena Shadows over Innistrad, and then there was like another character expansion that you got, so all of them I've just combined. But so you can pick through Chandra, Nissa, there's two different Jaces, Avacyn, Gideon, Obnixilis, Liliana, Kiora, Sorin, Nahiri, and Arlen. So there's all those to pick from in the Planeswalker deck. Of the, so in the expansions you get these four, which is Nahiri, Sorin, Kiora, and Arlen. They are multicolored, dual colored, but multicolored. All the others are single colored. So if you pick one of the single colors, what you will do is you will come through the stack here of like creatures, and you will pick two of these cards that match the color. If you pick one of the multicolors, like Kiora, who's green and blue, you can pick 1 and 1. So you could pick like 1 blue and 1 green. So you will pick that as well. So you'll have one Planeswalker and two of these like common hero cards. Then you have these spell decks. So there's like tons of cards. But you do the same thing with the colors that you do for the common heroes, but you have 12 cards. And there's only sorceries and enchantments in this deck. So you'll pick 12. Once you get your heroes, so for the sake of the examples, let's just grab, we got Jace. If it auto focuses, it's kind of hard because of the way everything's set up. Let me see, we zoom in maybe. It can auto focus. So yeah, see, you have, let's see, come on, autofocus. It did it for a second. But, sorry, it's not, for some reason, just not wanting to focus. But, so we have Jace and Chandra. So we use these for the examples. So you would set them here on the board, however you want to go. It comes with a normal D20. So you would just roll that to see who goes first. Then you, you would have your deck of your 12 cards. You shuffle them, and each player draws 3. That's your starting hand. There are 5 actions to the game. There are, it shows it in the rule books in case you forget, but you have an action 1 where you draw a spell. Action 2 is you choose an army. So when you first start out, you're only going to have your Planeswalker. And during this phase, so you'll choose them, and you can activate any special abilities that are on the cards from the Planeswalkers. And then you can choose in the first one to summon both armies to the field. And they have to be summoned within 5 spaces. So here, we'll zoom in so you can see the spaces. And let's slide this up. So say Chandra is here within 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these. You don't go across. You got to kind of go in the lines of the spaces. So you can't, like, here's a double. So you can't be like 1 and then 2. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's how you'll do it. Then you can move the figures. So once you summon them, that's it for that. But like during the rest of the game, you would move. So when you summon them, those characters can't. But you could move Chandra. And the move is, well, we have Kiora here on the card, so come on, focus, work with me. Maybe if we do it, we'll see if we put the board game in front. Yeah, so here's the card. So it'll tell you the life, the move, the range, their defense, and attack. So, and then if you can see the little green dot, that shows the line of sight. So that's important when you're determining ranged attacks. So what happens is you would then pick, like I showed you, the move. So you would move. So Chandra move is, let's get her. So she has a move of 6. So I could go, here we go. We'll zoom back out. So Jace is right there. So I could go 1, 2, and move into the range to attack if I wanted to do like a non-obstructive. I can also, you move around, and I could do, if Chandra's range is further away than Jace, I could do a range attack. And then turn 5 is just moving the turn dial, so it's like how many turns the game is going to last. But when you're doing the range, you would just kind of get down to eye level and do from like point to point and see if it's unobstructed, which like in this case, where they're located, they would be unobstructed. As you could kind of see, I was trying to zoom in as far as I can. But so you would see that. And then you get to attack. So attack is when like I showed, the however many you have on your little swords, you roll these dice, and defense is the same. So Chandra has 3 attack, but if she was defending, you add 4, and then you just roll. And so like for her attack, the shields don't matter, so I would roll 1, and then Jace would, depending which Jace it was, but so we'll say we went with the Jace the Investigator. So it's hard to see because it's not focusing, because of all the silly stuff, but it has a 4. So you would just roll 4 dice for Jace. And see, I rolled 1 shield out of the 4 there. So it would be a 1 and 1, so they cancel, nothing happens. However, if I didn't roll shields, these little red token things are the damage things. So for the Planeswalkers, you just put them on the Planeswalker card. But because, let's see here. So for the heroes, come on, focus up. So for the heroes, see it says a cost of 60 and then 20. So that means that each one is worth 20 points for a total of 60. So when you put them out, you are going to find the matching heroes, and it would be, I think these are all 3. So basically you would have 3 figures out, and then like they would be on the board. Obviously, I know for this example, they're not matching the colors because Chandra red, these are white core creatures. But so what would happen is, it depends which one you attack. They each have a health of 3, so you would put it on that specific base, because once it dies, you remove that individual one from the game. Now, if you were to choose to activate like the cores, then you can do each one separately in all 3 of these, and you can only pick 1 person or creature per round. So like if I pick my Planeswalker, I can't pick the cores until like, so you got to just constantly switch. For movement sakes, everything like I have set up here is even. So the only difference is like if you move into the water, no matter what your movement is, you will stop there. So like if it's my first full move and like I can move 6, like Jace moves from this spot right here, and I can move like say 6, well that's 1, he stops in the water. Now if I'm moving out of water, it takes 1 extra. So basically instead of 1, it would be 2 moves to get to that spot, and then 3, 4, 5. Now, another thing, so you can have like these walls that obstruct it. It's just a cardboard. It comes with the game. If the whole base, so let's see. Let's zoom in and then slide these out. So like if we have that right there cut off and Chandra goes to move in, but the whole base can't fit, they are not allowed to move into that space. Other pieces, so they have these glyphs pieces here that you can add to the tiles. There are 3 in the base game, 3 permanents, and 1 temporary. So what they do is if you're on the space, it gives you that extra. So power, when you attack, you get 1 extra. Toughness, one extra defense. And then movement is, so when you're on it and then you move off, for that turn, you get to add 2 to your movement speed. So Chandra has 6, but when she leaves, she could add 8. The knowledge is the only temporary one. So once you land on it with anything, you draw one of your one of these spell cards, and then it goes away. The the Shadows of Innistrad added 2 other glyphs to the game, 1 temporary and 1 permanent again. So the permanent one is this healing. So as long as it's on there, they can remove a damage marker at the start of their turn from that figure. Then you have the glyph recall. That is the temporary one. And then that allows you, once you land on it, to take a spell from your graveyard and put it into your hand. And then it goes away. So in the game, there's sorceries and enchantments. You can only cast them on your turn. There's no there's no counter spells, I believe, if I remember correctly, but you're only allowed to cast them on your turn. There are enchantments that are allowed to be activated on specific things that could potentially do that, but there's no instant speed counter spell. You have 3 cards in your starting hand. You draw per turn, and you're not allowed to have more than 7 in your hand. And once you've either used them all or you've drawn out, you don't lose the game, but you can no longer draw spells. And another special caveat, if the Planeswalker dies right away, you are not allowed to draw any more spells or cast any. But any trap enchantments or stuff that are on the board, they stay there. But you're not, again, allowed to cast anything. Now, movement pieces. So let's slide these out of the way. So you have these terrain pieces. They don't come with very many. If you get the game and you choose, Heroscape is another game, and they use these plastic pieces that are very similar to this. So when you're moving, what you do is you would count up. So however your movement is. So there's 2 here, right? So it'd be 1, 2, and then 3 movements to get to this space. So if you had a Planeswalker here, it would count the side. So it would be 1, 2, and then to get to the middle, 3. So Chandra, having to move to 6, could get up there. But she wouldn't be able to continue up because it'd be 4, 5, and 6 to get to the peak here. But you would need 7 to get here. So she would have to do it on another turn to get to the highest point. In ranged attacks and in close combat, because there's a height difference, the person at the higher elevation, regardless of the height of the figure, gets to add 1 extra attack or defense dice to the attack. And then, so what it means is when you're here, if it focus, so each character, see the medium 4 right here, that determines a character's height. So what that means is, here, because this would cover more than Chandra's height, she could not move even if enough moves were there to get up to the top. So she would have to go here, then here. Now moving down, she could do it, but because it's a higher elevation than her height, you would roll 1 of these dice because it's considered falling, and so you would roll it. And if you roll a shield, nothing happens, or a blank, nothing happens. If you roll the swords, it's 1 damage to Chandra, and that works the same for anything when you add the elevation. So the Shadows of Innistrad also added these little glyphs. So what's kind of different from them is if a Planeswalker is on, let me slide these out of the way now and move this into the realm. So if you have a Planeswalker here and a Planeswalker here, they actually will use the edge of this glyph right here as the line of sight, so they could still attack. The height advantage still comes into play. And then if they were wanting to move up, there's a scaling factor, so it's 4 to get up. So as long as they have 4 movement, regardless of their height, they can scale it, and same scale down. Now if they go the other way, because like say they're trying to leave and there's somebody here, then it's a height of 9, so therefore you would have to do the falling again. And the same goes like if you had these things, it's a height of 9, and then so you would count up here, so it'd be like 6, so it's a 3 different, so they could potentially move down. Actually, I think that I have only 5, so it would be 4, so Chandra's at the even where she wouldn't do falling. But if there was like 1 less, it would be a falling, so she would have to roll the falling dice to see about damage. Now the other key piece is because it would be a higher height, she can't move up there regardless, unless she was down at the base for scaling. Now the glyphs, you can actually take them out. They are like a person. They have 4 health, and then they have a toughness of 3. So when you attack, somebody, one of the players will roll 3 dice for the defense of the spheres. And once they lose their 4 health, they're taken out. There are, and then you can set up the game with like different rules. And in each rule book, let's zoom back out. In each rule book, you have in the back, they have map setups. So, so you can set up the map, and it kind of explains how to play that specific like game setup. So this is some of the base key pieces. So it's just like it'll have the Planeswalker in the back and then the map. But the Shadows of Innistrad added different things for rules, so you can have like these dark spaces if you want, or flip them over and have a light. So it just added like another little piece to the game. And then as well, they came in with the Eldrazi Ruiner. So it's like this guy. He's a big old one. He comes with his arm. His arm comes off, so he fits in the box. And then these little Scion tokens. So if you play with them, their cards have their line of sights, all the same thing. But how it's supposed to work is each player will like take turns going for the Eldrazi, and they're just supposed to go after whoever's the nearest to them, like indiscriminate. And then if there's like equal distance between them, you can roll off for it. But what's different is he's a 2-based, 2-space character. So we'll slide this out, zoom back in. So they would sit like this. So they don't pivot like this. So it's like 1, then they could go 2, 3. So they got to kind of like loop. They can't like pivot like this, if that makes sense. So they got to kind of like loop, but they're supposed to head for the like closest threat to them. And then that's pretty much, that covers all of this game. It's pretty simple. It's a lot of fun. There are ways to play multiplayer. I won't get into that. Like you guys can, if you get the game, you can read the rule books, but there's ways to play like on team versions of that. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this coverage of the Magic Arena of the Planeswalker board game. Stay tuned for more content like this, and until next time, y'all have a blessed one and take care.